Hey, Julian. All right, let's take a look at your sketchbook. First and foremost, I love that you're keeping it loose with stick figures and really just thinking about the simplicity of everything. That's a really important step, and I think that that will help you focus on what's important with the pose, and that is just the storytelling aspects alone. Like you're not really thinking about, you know that you're not going to show these drawings to anybody, and they're more for yourself. And so I think that usually that's like a hard concept for people to wrap their heads around. But it's really good to see that you're keeping it very loose in that sense. I think you could actually loosen things up. Like a few just tips on what to try is to think, like when you're starting these poses, like that line of action, like what that line of action will be, and that will help you set up your stick figures. Like your thumbnails in that sense will come through a little bit more. And so, like for instance, for a pose like this, where you have this sort of line, your character's stopping, and it's really like there's two forces happening here. Your character is going forward, but also trying to stop. That's what I'm reading here. And so you can start with that line, and then just draw around it. Like I usually add the head on top of that line because it's all part of it. It's all connected, really. And if you think about like how the neck connects to the vertebrae, and of course the head can turn and stuff like that, but it adds a really nice flow to everything. And then I usually just draw like a little box around that, and that will help me get the idea of the torso, and of course like the arms and everything like that, just like really loose shapes. Essentially what you're doing here, but the main thing is like I'm just really focused on keeping my action directed around that line, and I feel like what that does is it gives me a point of reference to elaborate on it. So that's the next thing that I was going to say about your drawings is like you're getting a lot of different drawings and even thinking about attitudes with this. And I love seeing that. That's really good stuff. But I'd say, take the drawing that you pick and keep drawing that and keep trying to exaggerate it. That's a key component with poses is exaggeration. And so, like, say you did this one, you liked it, keep drawing it. Maybe draw it like 3 or 4 times. Try different lines of actions. Maybe try them, in different directions, one more extreme than the other. Or even drawing on top of that same line, you might find different things. But that's what you want to do in this area. It's not just shotgun a bunch of poses onto the page. That's great. That's what you want to do at first. But once you do that, you want to whittle that down and refine those ideas that you've established. So yeah, going forward, that's what I'd say is like try a whole bunch of different things at first. Then start looking at the ones you like and then draw those over and over again to the point where you feel like you're comfortable with those ideas and want to move forward into putting them on the computer. It really, what it is more is just like you're setting your mind around that pose a little bit more before you begin, and it really helps to get into that mindset and say, okay, this is a pose I'm thinking about, this is what I'm going to do, and because poses are such a big aspect of the storytelling device, you want to really make sure that you're going to get it right. So that's the idea behind that. But overall, this is looking really good. So great stuff. Okay, I really like the line that you're getting here. You're getting also a really interesting angle with your staging. It's kind of cool to see you go from this pose and then changing it up. Again, like this is what I'd like just a little bit more on paper too, just like that direction of like why you decided to go in that way and everything. But overall, there's some really nice stuff. I love what the feet of the character can a lot of times feel very clunky, just because of their rigid shapes, and you've pose them in a way that makes them feel very natural, and that works really well. So I think that's a really nice thing. The next thing is that just like the overall line that you're getting across, it feels, it has that organic quality to it. A few things that I'd like to see that you know, even though I just said the whole thing about the neck, the head and the line going through, or the line going through to the head, and how that works through the neck and everything. With this pose, I feel like you could get a lot of times if the head tends to tilt or do something that is kind of off alignment, it makes the character seem a little less focused on an objective. And so with that said, if you tilted the head and had it a little bit more straight on like that, you're going to give that the sense of, okay, if your character's like trying to come to a stop and is looking down, they're not going to be looking down like that necessarily. They're going to be trying to focus on like, whoa, doing that sort of thing. So it's going to be a lot more linear than you might think at first. And you know, I think with the body overall, this is looking like a pretty good line. Like just the way, like if we were to look at this from the side, I'm seeing a line that goes something like that. The one thing I'd be careful of is right around here, and just this area in general. If you tend to bend that section too much away from the rest of the body, it tends to look weird. Now this area especially, like think about how many bones are right here with the rib cage and the sternum and all that stuff, and how little flexibility there actually is in that area. So you want to make sure that if anything, like that part's like probably the most rigid. And even though there's a control there, that control is mainly more for this than it is for this. So yeah, that's just one thing to be careful of. And then the hand poses, they're feeling pretty good, but I want to go over them a little bit. And in tomorrow's Q&A, I'll go over more hand poses with this character. But you can get just a little bit more of an organic quality out of them by, I mean, ever so slightly. I mean, what I liked is that you're keeping it subtle. You're not going too crazy with it. But you're getting overall a nice shape. It's just like you can think about the overall hand like it bending from here rather than bending from here. So if like that, you get a shape like that, you're going to get that sort of overall shape, and that's going to be more of a natural shape to our, like we see that overall, we're going to see that shape, and it's going to feel more organic than maybe like this, or worse is like that, where it's like going in the opposite direction, which you didn't do, and that's great. Also think about, you can get a lot of range of motion just by moving the wrist. So pose the hand, but then move the wrist, and then all of a sudden you get this really nice organic shape to it. Overall, really nice pose though. I mean, I think that you're representing action. There is a key pose here, like you're definitely getting a storytelling beat within this action. And so it's just a few little tweaks, but overall it looks really good. So, all right, great job, Julian. That's it. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, thanks.